There's a piece of cardboard costs you $1 that kills Bermuda grass permanently. Not slows it down, not weakens it, kills the rhizomes, the stolons, and the seedbank, all of it in 90 days. With zero chemicals and zero tilling. Not because the cardboard is special. Not because it contains some hidden compound. The mechanism is something every farmer in 1944 knew, every Iroquois farmer in 1400 knew, and every Japanese rice farmer in the 1970s rediscovered. Modern science finally caught up at Washington State University in the last 15 years. And every Japanese rice farmer in the 1970s rediscovered. Modern science finally caught up at Washington State University in the last 15 years. And the $11 billion glyphosate industry has done everything in its power to make sure suburban homeowners never read about it. Stick around, because around the 11-minute mark, you're going to hear what Bayer paid in court settlements just last year, and you're going to understand why a flattened Amazon box terrifies them more than any regulator ever has. Before that, you're going to learn 3 things every lawn care company hopes you forget. You're going to learn why Bermuda grass, the most chemically resistant lawn grass on the planet, has exactly one weakness. And it's not a weakness anyone can sell you. You're going to learn the precise overlap, depth, and timing that separates a yard that comes back lush and weed-free from a yard that fails and reinfests within 6 months. And you're going to learn the names of the 4 people who figured this out, 3 of them women, none of them famous, who quietly built the system the entire organic gardening movement now depends on. By the end of this video, the cardboard sitting in your recycling bin will look different to you, and so will the bottle in your garage. Every video is a piece of that recovery. If that mission matters to you, subscribe and turn on the bell, because the bigger this archive gets, the harder it becomes for the algorithm to bury. The principle the cardboard relies on isn't 1944. It's older than every herbicide patent combined. Roughly 600 years ago, in the woodlands of what's now upstate New York, the Haudenosaunee, the Iroquois Confederacy, built what archaeologists still call the most efficient companion planting system in the Americas, the Three Sisters Mound. Corn, beans, and squash planted together on raised mounds covered with leaf litter, decaying bark, and fish remains. The leaf litter layer wasn't decoration. It was a light-blocking, moisture-trapping organic layer that smothered weeds. Cross the Atlantic to Eastern Europe, where farmers practiced hugelkultur, building raised mounds over rotting wood. And then in 1944, a 60-year-old woman in Connecticut accidentally rediscovered the entire system. Her name was Ruth Stout. She noticed something everyone before her had walked past. The soil under the leaf litter was already soft, moist, and ready to plant. She wrote her first article for Organic Gardening and Farming magazine in 1953, published the following July under the title, "Throw Away Your Spade and Hoe." She kept gardening that way until she died at 91. Across the Pacific in 1975, a Japanese microbiologist turned farmer named Masanobu Fukuoka published The One Straw Revolution, a book that took Ruth Stout's intuition and built a 30-year scientific framework around it. No till, no herbicide, no fertilizer, just permanent organic ground cover. His rice yields matched or exceeded chemical input rice farms within 5 years. Her variation used layered newspaper as the base, the direct ancestor of the cardboard method that hit American permaculture circles in the late 1980s. Iroquois. German peasants, a Connecticut housewife, a Japanese scientist, an Australian retiree. 5 completely different cultures, 5 completely different centuries, all arrived at the same conclusion independently. The surest way to kill a plant is to deprive it of light. Every civilization on Earth figured this out independently. We didn't lose the knowledge. We just decided to poison the problem instead. In the last 20 years, that traditional knowledge has been picked apart in a research lab. Her research confirms what practitioners always claimed: organic sheet mulches suppress weed germination by up to 95%. Bermuda grass reproduces 3 ways: seeds, above-ground stolons, and below-ground rhizomes. All need light. Cut off the light, and within 60 to 90 days, the underground reserves exhaust themselves. The plant doesn't get poisoned, it starves. Carol Bremner, a retired schoolteacher in Phoenix, Arizona, inherited her late mother's house in 2019. The 1,200-square-foot backyard had been overrun by Bermuda for at least a decade. She got 3 landscaping quotes. The lowest came in at $4,200 for full sod removal, soil replacement, and reseeding. The highest, including a glyphosate pre-treatment plan, came in at just over $6,800. Now stay with me on the third number, because the third number is the one Bayer's legal team has actively tried to keep out of homeowner forums for the last 8 years. She spent $43 instead. A neighbor with an appliance store gave her flattened refrigerator boxes. She rented a $20 sod stapler from a Phoenix hardware store, bought 3 bags of bulk wood chip mulch from a tree trimming service for $15, and laid the whole system out across one Saturday in late February. By that following Thanksgiving, every square foot of Bermuda was dead. By the next spring, she had a working raised bed vegetable garden over the top of it. Total cost $43. Total savings versus the lowest professional quote, $4,157. That's not a one-off story. That's the math of the entire suburban lawn industry, run in reverse. And if Carol's math surprised you, wait until you hear what the lawn care industry is actually built on. Because the part that nobody outside agriculture school ever explains, the part Bayer's lawyers really would prefer stayed quiet, is what those numbers in the courtroom actually represent. If you've watched this far, you're the audience this channel exists for. Hit subscribe before we get to the 11-minute mark, because what's coming next is the part that, once you hear the numbers, you can't unhear them. There's a reason this method specifically destroys Bermuda when herbicides only suppress it. Bermuda's defense system is built for chemical attack. Its waxy leaf coating sheds water-based sprays. Its deep rhizome network sits below the kill zone of most contact herbicides. And its seed bank can lie dormant in soil for 2 to 3 years, ready to regerminate the moment chemical pressure stops. That's why homeowners who spray Roundup 4 times a season still have Bermuda the following spring. The chemical kills the visible blade. The underground network just waits. But Bermuda has no defense against the absence of light. There's no evolutionary adaptation in any grass species on Earth for the situation where the sun simply doesn't reach the leaves anymore. Once the cardboard goes down, the entire plant, the visible blade, the network of runners, the rhizome reserves underground, every part of it is operating on borrowed time. The reserves get burned through trying to push new growth up. Nothing comes back. The plant starves itself out in roughly 90 days. That's the part the lawn care industry doesn't want explained in plain English. Because once a homeowner understands it, the $400 annual herbicide subscription stops making sense. Before I get to the part about the $11 billion settlement, I want to give you something free that took me 4 months to assemble. I put together a 38-page reference PDF called The Forbidden Soil Vault. It contains 4 protocols you cannot easily find in one place anywhere else online. Inside, you get the full cardboard method engineering specifications, overlap distances, climate-adjusted timing tables, the exact failure point checklist Linda Chalker-Scott's research at Washington State warned about. You get Esther Deans's original 1977 newspaper-based layering protocol, translated for modern American materials. You get the Korean natural farming fermented rice water recipe, the same family of techniques the previous video on this channel covers, formatted for backyard application. And you get the hugelkultur trench dimension and wood species ranking chart so you can build a buried wood bed that feeds itself for 30 years. The vault is email gated. It opens once a week to keep it from getting indexed and gutted by the lawn care industry's SEO teams. Link is in the description. Type your email. Get the PDF in your inbox within 60 seconds, no spam ever, and you can unsubscribe anytime. Carol in Phoenix had to figure out the cardboard method from scattered permaculture forum posts. You don't have to. And here are the actual numbers. The global glyphosate market, the active ingredient in Roundup, was valued at approximately $9 to $11 billion in 2025. That's the annual market. Every year, Bayer, which acquired Monsanto in 2018, has paid out approximately $11 billion in Roundup-related settlements to roughly 100,000 plaintiffs. In February of this year, Bayer proposed an additional $7.25 billion class settlement, a settlement that received preliminary court approval in March. Bayer's total litigation reserves for glyphosate now sit at approximately 9.5 billion euros, over 10 billion US dollars. So follow the math. A $9 to $11 billion annual product, an $11 billion past settlement bill, a $7 billion future settlement provision. That's the financial structure of one chemical that, in residential yard applications, was solving a problem that a $4 Amazon box could solve in 90 days. They take 10 cents worth of corrugated cardboard and sell you a $40 bottle to do the same job with a side of class action exposure. That's not negligence. That's a business model. The math doesn't work anymore. Here's the 4-step protocol for a 100 square foot Bermuda-infested area. Step 1. Collect approximately 30 to 35 square feet of double-wall corrugated cardboard. Appliance boxes are ideal. They're heavier weight than standard shipping boxes and resist tearing for longer. Free sources: any major appliance retailer or furniture store. Remove all tape, staples, plastic windows, and shiny color-printed sections. Plain brown corrugate only. Total raw material cost, $0 to $5. Step 2. Mow or weed whip the Bermuda area as low as physically possible, ideally to bare ground. Rake and remove all loose grass clippings. Wet the underlying soil with approximately 5 gallons of water per 100 square feet to activate microbial decomposition. Lay flattened cardboard sheets directly on the wetted soil. Here's the part that, if you get this wrong, the whole system fails. Permaculture forums skip this exact specification almost universally. Every sheet must overlap the adjacent sheet by a minimum of 6 inches. For known aggressive Bermuda zones, overlap 12 inches and double layer. Secure all corners and 4-foot seam intervals with 6-inch galvanized sod staples, $15 for a 75-pack at any hardware store. A single 1-inch gap in the seams and the rhizomes break through within 4 weeks. The overlap is not optional. It's the entire reason the system works. Step 3. Soak the entire cardboard layer thoroughly. The cardboard should be uniformly dark brown and pliable, not stiff. Within 10 to 15 minutes, the cardboard should mold to the soil contour with no air gaps underneath. Air gaps are where the method fails. Step 4. Top the wetted cardboard with 3 to 4 inches of arborist wood chip mulch. Not dyed mulch, not shredded bark, not bagged play mulch. Pure arborist chips from a tree service are usually free if you ask. Most local tree trimmers will drop a 10-yard load in a driveway at no charge to avoid landfill fees. A 10-yard pile covers 1,000 square feet at 4-inch depth. At 100 square feet, you'll use roughly 1.5 cubic yards. Total mulch cost, $0 if local, up to $40 if bagged. Total cost for a 100 square foot Bermuda kill, $0 to $60 depending on sourcing. Time to full kill, 60 to 90 days in warm, moist climates, 90 to 180 days in dry summer climates. This method has real limits and the published research is honest about them. The University of California's weed cut documentation and Washington State University extension records specifically flag 2 failure modes. The first is overlap. Bermuda grass is one of the most aggressive rhizomatous species the system has been tested against. And the documented limitation is that wherever cardboard seams gap, the stolons exploit them. 6-inch minimum overlap is the floor. 12 inches is the safe range for established Bermuda. A single unstapled corner lifted by rain or wind, and the rhizomes break through within 4 weeks. Permaculture forums document this failure repeatedly. The second is climate. The method works fastest in warm, moist conditions, which means tropical and subtropical zones see kill times closer to 60 days. In dry summer climates without supplemental watering, the cardboard takes longer to break down, and the underlying rhizome exhaustion stretches toward 4 to 6 months. This is not a one-weekend project, it's a 90-day commitment with monthly checkups. Skip the checkups and the cardboard reinfests at the seams. That's the trade-off. There's no chemistry to mask it. The Iroquois knew this. They built mounds and let the leaves do the work. The Germans knew it. They buried wood and watched it feed the next century of farms. Ruth Stout knew it in 1944 when she put down her spade. Fukuoka knew it in 1975 when his rice fields out-yielded the chemical farms next door. Esther Deans knew it in 1977 when she stacked newspaper over her Sydney backyard. You cannot patent a flattened cardboard box. You cannot copyright the absence of light. You cannot sell back to a homeowner what every grandmother on this planet already knew. Before the herbicide aisle existed. We didn't lose this. We just decided to poison it instead of remember it. You just remembered all of it. So before you go, I want to know which side of this you land on. Are you Team Ruth Stout, the no-till purist, hay and cardboard and nothing else, the way it was meant to be? Are you Team Hugelkultur, the buried wood, raised mound, ancestral engineering crowd? Or are you Team Fukuoka, the seed balls and permanent ground cover and let the soil do the work itself school? Drop your team in the comments. I read every single one. And the cardboard method this video covers comes from all 3 traditions. But most homesteaders end up loyal to one of them above the others. Which one called to you? Every share of this video puts a crack in the wall. That an $11 billion industry spent 40 years building around knowledge that was never theirs to lock away. The wall comes down 1 comment, 1 share, 1 cardboard box at a time.